All right, boys, let's go.
Anthony, if there's one thing I can say about tuna fishing, it's that the more you do it, the more you need to do it.
You're so proper, Jim. Anthony today, huh?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, 1,000%.
There's no, like, I don't think you could ever catch enough, especially when it comes to spinning gear and light tackle. You can never catch enough of them. Like, we had a great day yesterday, and I feel like I should be somewhat satiated with the tuna fishing, but I'm not.
I'm hungrier than ever.
Oh, my I'm always hungry. So yesterday we went east of the Cape with our friend, Captain Ty Rainey, and, man, the fishing out there had been pretty spectacular. Everybody talking about it. World-class fishing happening out east of Cape Cod for bluefin tuna. Now, the reports we'd gotten was predominantly 70 to 90-inch fish. So we'd rigged the gear looking for fish in that class. Heavy leaders, heavy rods, kind of going out there, gunned, ready with our elephant guns.
Yeah, I did push-ups before I left, dude.
I did. I was pretty worn out. I was worried I wouldn't be able to fight them after my push-ups. But we get out to the grounds at the Regal Sword area, find the life, find just incredible whales, some birds, not all the shearwaters we had last week, but there were certainly some, tons of dolphins, and Cheech fires out the first cast. And hold on, before we go to that, I feel like I did the rod rigging for this trip, and there's always one when I'm at home, I'm rigging it up, and I'm like, this is the one I'm going to start with. And I must look at it too many times throughout the course of the trip because without fail, either you or Chris grab that rod before I can, and I had it rigged up with a soft plastic, an NLBN, straight tail in the sand eel color, and it was perfect. It was the right color.
It was beautiful.
And I'm like, I'm going to throw this into the first feed we see.
Yep, we weren't even off plane, and I had it in my hand already.
It was, before I could even be like, oh, dude, I wanted to, you were already hooked up.
Yeah.
You hooked up right away. Cheech hooked two giants off the bat and lost them both. And then things kind of quieted for us. It was one of those situations, not quieted.
Did they quiet, or did we decide to be like, you know what? Let's try to find something else.
There was I'd say there was maybe a half hour where there were so many places in that area where we didn't know where to go. Do you go to that pile of whales? That nuts. Pile of whales? There was no one set area to go. So the option was probably just drift and jig. But
it was like Jurassic Park out there.
It was. So our best option was probably drift and jig with the plastics or metals. But we really wanted to find some of the surface activity. Yeah. That was the videos that have been hitting social media over the last couple of weeks. Captains going out there and straight, to take a West Coast term, foamers, where like the fish were feeding so aggressively on the surface, just turning it into a froth. And that's what we were hoping to see. We did not see that when we got out there. So we went on the hunt.
We went searching. We went long and deep. We went shallow. We covered some ground, and we were just in full hunt mode. And every time we started to get excited, it was like, oh, porpoise, more porpoises.
That was the worst case of like dolphin misidentification the entire trip. I have never seen tens of thousands of dolphins, different types of dolphins. There's some real big ones. I meant to look up what kind that was before the trip. But you had the two-tone dolphins out there.
They're like the trees from Lord of the Rings. They just look like they're just giant, the stone figures from maybe that's Frozen. I don't know.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Those dolphins are freaky. They look like
those one real big ones that we don't know the species of and can't.
I looked it up once and I mush-brained it. I forgot.
But there were a lot of the little ones out there, and man, the way they were charging from a distance looked just like those foamers that people were posting videos of. So we would run up to them and be like, "Oh, dolphins again!"
It's hard because you had like a good a legit 4+ foot swell, so you only catch whitewater for a glimpse of it, So you got to go and investigate because also you never know, what else is.
This report is brought to you by SiriusXM Marine. Check out their fish mapping service at www.siriusxm.com/fish mapping. Become a fish mapping subscriber today and be the first to know where the fish are biting without having to monitor every annoying alert. With the fish mapping app included with every SiriusXM Marine fish mapping subscription at no extra cost, you can keep tabs on the bite with your phone and keep yourself or share with your friends. Up to you.
So our mutual friend Joe Cermelli actually sells stickers expressing his distaste for dolphins. I'm going to get one of those for you now, so you can put that on maybe one of your coolers or a place of prominence. But moving on, we finally saw the right kind of feed. And my first thing was like, it's just dolphins again. And then all of a sudden, you don't see any tail, you don't see the fins, you don't see the dolphins, frolicking through it.
It was quick.
Oh, we're talking. So the first
quick.
one was just kind of a small feed of clearly smaller fish.
Yeah.
Good 30 inches smaller than we'd heard that they were supposed to be.
That was surprising.
So I got one bump in that feed, then we moved on again, and then we found what we were looking for. I mean, all told, we covered 201 miles. That's something Cheech would probably call inshore based on the comment section, kind of an inshore run. And over that 200 miles, finally, it paid off.
It's just a typical Tuesday. What are you talking about? That wasn't crazy.
What Ty said, he goes, dude, the key to finding these tuna on top is you just have to burn the fuel. You just have to go and search. And we did, and we had an hour of easily the craziest topwater tuna feeds I've ever seen. I've never seen it like that.
It was so ferocious. Just the sound of the feed was just incredible. And to have Robbie Tartaglia there, he got a drone up. At one point, he had his phone out. He had a good camera. We got some epic footage of it.
That's good because I mostly blacked out. I was just screaming and excited. My first cast into the feed, I hooked up.
Yep.
And I thought, oh, it's just going to be that easy.
Yeah, you stole that rod from me. I was going to fish that same exact one.
So I hooked up on the NLBN and fought that fish right away. Landed at 45 inches.
Yep.
Was surprised, you guys, that we didn't triple up from the intensity of that feed.
Yeah.
And from there, dude, then we realized pretty quickly after that initial success they were kind of picky, the fish.
Very picky.
We got a good look at the bait when they were on top. 3-4-inch sand eels, tiny little sand eels. We'd heard there had been some big Ron Z
all
size
the information that we had to go off of, it was just everything was a little bit different. The bait was microscopic. It was they were like sand eel embryos, and then on the the class size of fish, even on the topwater feeds, 70 and 80-inch fish on stick baits. I'm like, awesome, love that, and it was just a little different.
From a arms and back standpoint, I'm happy they were the size they were. But I landed that one. Ty landed 2 on stick baits.
Yeah.
Cheech, after your early success, you got a little snake bit in there.
Yeah.
But I broke off one and lost another one. And the one I broke off is the worst way to lose them. Is you hook it and it goes back into the school and all you feel the other tails in there. Eventually one gets in the braid and snaps the braid.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously why I didn't try to hook one, because it was just too many fish to not have another one break you off. So
well, it was nice of you to kind of let us have some fun after you'd hooked and fought so many fish in the morning. But
that was frustrating. It was one of those. You hear people talk about it with the with the butterfish feeds and stuff like that, where they're just super picky.
I've been there.
And I think the excitement of it all, we didn't take that step back to be like, all right,
we should have scaled down our leaders.
Yes.
We should have, but you don't know how long it's going to last. You think every feed you see like that might be the last one, and then they did. Eventually, they went down again, and I think it was Ty had said to Robbie, like, dude, put the drone up over the next one because that might be the last one. And sure enough, it was.
Ty got the credit because he's the captain. I'm fine with that.
So we're going to be putting out some of that stuff on our social media. You'll see some of this incredible footage of the tuna feeding. Some
best feeds I've ever seen in my entire life. Too. It was it was literally, we got to this place and we're looking around and we had we had gone to, we've been we covered here, and Ty goes, we haven't covered deep. Earlier in the season, I had a lot of success just going out to the deep water, and boom, I'd find it. And I'm looking around, and you see these little turns, and then the sheer waters, and it was like they were talking to me, Jim. I'm like, this is different. There was some whales in the mix, but the dolphins were off in the distance, and just the way the birds were acting, I'm like, boys, this is going to happen right here. I can feel it. And within 2 minutes, Panama broke loose in front of us. It was insane. I've never seen feeds that ferocious that stayed up that long with that many fish. It was nuts.
I almost forgot about the turn. So that was funny. So shearwaters are everywhere out there. They are your friend and companion, sometimes enemy offshore. But the turns were sticking right on top of the tuna. So even when the tuna weren't on the surface feeding, Robbie was kind of following them with the drone.
Yep.
And he said those turns stuck to the tuna like glue, and they would wait for them to push the bait to the surface, and then they would feed. But we're doing this report a little late. We got to turn this around by this afternoon, so we got to kind of do a speed run, get us to the canyon run report. On the way back in, wind kicked up. A couple lay days hitting us this week. We got soaked and kind of took a beating on the ride in, but we got that pre-storm bite. we'll talk about that,
awesome.
and then we'll see what happens post-storm after this all rolls through.
for sure.
The Northeast Offshore Report is brought to you by Akuma Fishing Tackle. Whether you're battling big game offshore or casting from the shore, Akuma gear is built to perform when it matters most. Learn more at AkumaFishingUSA.com.
Captain Bob, Seacoast, New Hampshire Sport Fishing, he's like clockwork. He's hitting me up every week with a great report. He said, with both rec and commercial seasons closed and the local whale watch is on a reduced schedule, intel has been scarce of late.
He uses the whale watchers for intel.
Yeah.
It's a good tip.
It is a great tip. We set up yesterday near the only other boat on the northeast corner of Scantum, the Hard Merchandise. Even their expertise did not produce a bite, and by mid-morning, they were off scouting for fishier waters. We had one small bluefin come up and chase a mackerel on our down rod, then gone. Thinking it might be a laziness thing, we sent down a stick mackerel, but no further interest. Veteran move right there. We spent the afternoon tied at Boone Ledge off York, Maine, one large mark above the mackerel school, but no bent rod. Scantum did not have much bait along the bottom, but did have mackerel up high. Boone was covered in mackerel. He said water temps 64 and 65, which might explain why the groundfish guys on Jeffries is still getting hit by so many blue sharks along with the recent threshers. Not sure what the reopener holds, as it will be post-blow from the offshore system heading up. Another regular contributor a little further south, Captain Chris Oliver from Keeping It Real Sport Fishing. He said, report's basically the same. Find the draggers with the smallest crowd, and you should have a banner day on the midshore grounds south of Long Island. We had to cancel our scheduled canyon trip for tomorrow because of the weather, but plan to get back out after this blow. They've been just basically pulling yellowfin off the draggers and having themselves a day after day after day out there. Will King goes by at Willie Fish on Instagram. He's out of the south shore of Long Island. He sent me a pretty sick video. He said the inshore grounds are still red hot for yellowfins, 50 to 70 pound class fish. They're gorging on peanuts, squid, and butterfish. Landed about 40 yellowfin last trip, releasing most of them. Jumped in and speared 4 of them as well for good measure. I shot a 50-inch class fish. I also have a video of underwater tuna, so we'll drop that down in the feed. Pretty awesome ongoings out that way.
So talking about these midshore yellowfin off Long Island, a few years ago, our ill-fated head boat canyon trip, wasn't a canyon trip, actually went along and fished these grounds after a storm like this. And what happened is when it rolled through, it dropped the water temperature 8 degrees.
Yep.
So that's going to be the thing you want to look for. As soon as this all clears out, where'd the water move? Where's the good water? That's going to determine whether this yellowfin bite survives the storm or whether it's moved on.
That trip was the worst.
Oh, dude.
I remember you being like, oh, hey, gee, that's a nice one. And I looked over, I'm like, that's a bluefin. I go, hey, Cap. I go, what's the water temperature? He goes, 63 degrees. We were looking for yellowfin. I go, yeah, that's a bluefin, and that's all we're going to see.
And it dropped 8 degrees, dude, and those fish just all flushed right out of there. They got on them again eventually, but it takes a little bit of rebuilding after the trip. I don't ever want to be the first trip post-storm again.
I don't like that slot. I mean, it can be pretty high risk, high rewards. It's either a dud or it's just banner. But in any event, we skipped over Monahan's. They were at Striper Fest retailing all the fishy stuff at the event for the sponsors that support us throughout the Striper Cup and Striper Fest. But he snuck out on Sunday right after Striper Fest. He said he went to the southwest corner, right at the notch there, and got about 113-inch giant to the boat. He had a charter. That fish was released, and then he kind of did a little turn and burn Tuesday, Wednesday before Striper Fest. He had gotten out to the canyons, and he said he hit Atlantis and then West Atlantis for overnight. He said chunking was impossible due to porpoises, Jim. They were eating all their chunks.
They're menaces.
They were, yeah. It was just, you couldn't get a hook in a tuna because there were so many porpoises around. He said the morning troll produced a nice eyeball on the troll and a couple of longfin. Found a pile of swords on the western wall of Atlantis right at the corner of the mouth of the canyon from that 2,000-foot plateau. And the plan was to drift a little shallower to get into that 1,100-foot zone. He said they couldn't even make it that far. They ended up going back up and restarting the drift. They got 4 bites. They ended up one for 4. The first buoy rod bite was the most impressive. They said the fish took the buoy under. He said it was definitely a really big fish. It got all wrapped up in the leader and ended up chafing off. They ended up 1 for 4 on swords, and they really struggled to find 68 to 69 degree water. It's probably something to do with that storm depression. It's working its way up the coast. He said they spent a lot of time in 66 degrees, probably, is reason why they didn't find many yellowfin or any yellowfin, but they got the big eye bite on the temp break. Water seemed to have warmed up significantly since then, so hopefully the back end of the storm, the water, trends up with on the temperature, and I still want to try to make it out there with you, buddy.
Big time, man. I'm hoping there's still time. October is a great canyon month.
It is.
A tricky weather month. So that is, the deeper you get into the fall, the fishing can be unreal. The weather is unpredictable. But this is a pretty short-lived, that pretty short-lived rum front here.
Yeah.
So
I'm laughing because if we do have a shot to go to the canyons, it's going to be a post-blow trip. I guarantee it.
Oh, absolutely. Going to be like, no one wants to go, but I got a couple spots if you want to take an exploratory mission. And we'll go. Yeah, we'll go.
It's too funny. Well, without further ado, let's turn it over to the pros over at Canyon Runner.
One last. I got a little report. Just looking out of Maryland, we've been neglecting them a little bit, but the Canyon Runner always picks up our slack there. Maryland, I'm seeing still good billfish fishing, great mahi fishing. Kind of slower on the tuna front down out of Ocean City Sunset Marina, but they're making up for that in the fill the cooler department with great fishing for tilefish. So tilefish mahi, catching and releasing some marlin, and that's the offshore scene in the Mid-Atlantic.
You shouldn't have to wait long with all the yellowfin piled in over off Long Island and Jersey. I'm assuming that they'll have a really nice late fall, early winter yellowfin fishing down south.
Well, that's all I got. Here's the Canyon Runner report.
The Offshore report is also brought to you by Canyon Runner, who will provide a very detailed synopsis of the fishing throughout our coverage area. The Canyon Runner sport fishing team is here to help you catch fish. They offer coaching and concierge services, seminars, and the Canyon Runner map, powered by VM, which will exponentially help increase your catches inshore, midshore, and out in the canyons. The report they provide gives you a sampling of how the Canyon Runner map works, which serves as your co-captain, providing all the fish catching and safety intel, including a built-in warning system and more. It gives you the ability to track over 600 member boats and 24 pro staffers in real time. Check them out at www.canyonrunner.com. And if you want to take the Canyon Runner map for a quick test ride, you can download the CR Map app from your app store and use it free of charge for 2 weeks. Your free access will be limited to boats within 10 miles of land, but it'll give you access to all the features to decide for yourself if it is right for you.
Good afternoon on the water. This is Captain Dean Ambrose from the Canyon Runner Coaching and Concierge Member Services, giving us the annual Offshore report. As always, we're covering last week's developments here. We're in the back half of, or last week, I should say, of September. Seen moderate fishing up and down the coast, and as always, we'll start from south to north. And you start to see here that weather is really starting to become problematic. We're only getting those 3 to 4 days a week out, so we are seeing a lot of trips sort of postponed and canceled, and we are starting to see boats fishing less in the Northeast, and we do have a giant bluefin closure right now and recreational bluefin closure in effect, so we aren't getting the same level of effort. But we're going to go ahead, as always, and start from south to north and really break it down for you. Starting out here, just east of Oregon Inlet, we have our pro staff, Carly A. and Fishing Frenzy. Those boats have been fishing the point on up to just east of the inlet, and they've had moderate catches of marlin, mahi, and what we have seen is extremely high 84.5 degree, 85 degree Gulf Stream water, hitting against slope water, which is in that low 80s. A lot of blackfin tuna, an occasional yellowfin. Pretty sparse fishing overall, but pretty much right on time. We're not seeing that white marlin that we have been seeing, but as we get into October, November, we should see signs increase of more and more marlins coming down that way. And we even see marlins making their way and sailfish down off Moorhead and then Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach area too. So be on the lookout for those opportunities here. It's been very good the last 5-6 years. So great opportunity for those folks that are looking to go south here. And we're going to start to see that major rush here in the next 8 weeks of boats starting to make their way south. But let's get into it. Let's really drill it out here. Norfolk, Washington, Poor Man's Canyons. We had a small yellowfin bite here on the chunk up inside the Wayne's World area. Really hit or miss, but it was some excitement for those folks. Boats fishing at Chicotee, Virginia Beach, Ocean City. We're in on this fishery, and as always, we were keeping our members abreast of it the entire time. Marlins and mahis are on the menu for that Norfolk, Washington, Poor Man's area. Now you're starting to see here that a lot of boats here are now fishing from that Townsend area all the way down through Ocean City. They're just grinding out west side of the Baltimore up to the northeast corner of the Wilmington. You're hearing squids here, and this is just going to be random marlin, random mahi right now. And then you're also seeing mahis being caught sort of on that northern side of the food court all the way through that cigar area. As long as you can get on some sort of float or some sort of structure, you'll have an opportunity to get into something. Spencer, Linnecole, Toms have been relatively sparse, not much in the way of water to even be fishing on in here. And it's interesting this year, we've seen a real lack of lobster gear through these canyons. The lobster fishing's been off significantly, about 30%. It seems like everything's justified to the east here. And who knows, maybe there's a connection there with the pelagic species as everything just seems to be east this year. It just isn't happening southwest of the Hudson. Very, very weird. A lot of coverage in the Hudson. Pretty sparse fishing overall, in my opinion. A couple big eyes caught here, a couple longfin, a couple yellowfins. Not much caught for the level of effort. And you can just see here, folks, this is 5 days of effort. That Hudson Canyon's just blacked out. We've had a lot of boats using our boat map system. We're seeing a lot of these boats, and it's been tough. Some mahi, a lot of smaller class mahi, and a lot of tilefish. You've got boats in here right now, just west of the West Elbow, Triple Rex area. They have been catching yellowfins in here. Some boats are really getting them into double digits. Some boats are catching 0. Some boats are catching 1. But again, as always, it seems that peanut bunker, fresh and dead really are the key to really getting a consistent bite in these areas. And we see here our pro staff, Ricky Wheeler, Captain Ricky Wheeler on Euphoria, Captain Joe Trainer on low profile. They were up in here on this Triple Rex bite, and they've been charter fishing in here for the last handful of days. Right up in here, we've got some of our other pro staff, Captain Jonathan from LBI Sport Fishing, and we've got a handful of head boats and our bulk of our membership up in this Tower Bacardi area, and they're fishing in some draggers. And they're again chunking the fish as well. If it doesn't happen behind a dragger, it seems to be if you can find a slick with birds and any sort of sign on it, you will produce. And then south of Coinbrook right now, so south of Shinnecock, Moriches, southwest of Montauk, you can see here in this area we call the Rabbit's Back, very traditional fall fishery. There's a squid fleet in there. Just very interesting on working with our commercial boat contacts. The squid just have really showed up in the last 10 days. So we anticipate this area, as it's been holding the fish the last 14 weeks, really only continue to get better. And as that squid starts to step off, as they call it, and it's continuing its migration out to the 100 fathom curve, should all culminate in the Hudson within the next month. So this is going to be a great area, great opportunity here to get out fishing. We're bullish on this fishing. If you haven't gone or you need to make a trip, definitely let us know for those folks that are going. And if you're interested in learning more about the Canyon Runner service, reach out to info@canyonrunner.com. We'll be interested in having a call with you and discussing some of what we do here in this membership coaching service. We even had boats here, daytime fishing, trolling, swordfish caught at night, longfin, yellowfin, all through this area. A couple big eyes in the dip this weekend. Nice class of fish, 200 plus pounds, all 70 to 72-inch fish, really nice fish. We had a couple boats fishing that fish tails, and again, they were greeted with longfin and yellowfin on the troll. Very sparse at night, kind of unusual. But again, we're fishing at 69, 70-degree water. I mean, this is when it's going to happen here on the night chunk. We've also got boats fishing Atlantis, West Atlantis, and there are swords, some big eyes, some longfin, some yellowfin caught in here. So really interested in it. We even had some other non-member boats fishing that beach area, and they did well there in the daytime, swordfish and some big eyes caught at night. So really, really interesting. And you can start to see some of our tracks here with members fishing out of Rhode Island, Eastern Connecticut, Montauk, Shinnecock, Moriches. A lot of our members fishing out of the New York Bight area. I mean, it's just been great. A lot of effort, and those folks are doing really well. So we're happy to see that. Let's get on out here to the east here a little bit. Oop, map's getting a little crazy. We've got boats here fishing, a lot of our Cape Cod members. This is all starting to taper out. We never saw that white marlin bite materials like we had seen previously. And like I said, giant tuna fishing and recreational bluefin fishing, angling categories are closed. But those folks that are fishing, doing a catch and release thing, we had a boat go out to Fipneys, catch some halibut. They had some great bottom fishing. And we're offering that type of support as well. Been consistent. Those boats that are just out there recreational fishing, they are seeing the fish in the Sword area and off Nauset Beach. You're starting to see Stellwagen Bank, P-Town. There's action in here. And up here, New Hampshire, Maine. Right now, we're just not seeing the small fish there. What we are seeing, again, lobster fishermen reporting in good action on bluefins. They're just seeing them. So, the October 1 closure is going to be, or opener is going to be here soon. And we anticipate that quota is going to be about 70-ish tons. And we anticipate it to be a very, very fruitful week for those folks that can get out as long as they have weather up here. As always, this is Captain Dean. I want to thank everyone for the report. Thanks again on the water. And if you'd like to hear more, info@canyonrunner.com. Send us an email. Thanks.